look stupid, eh? Like some people have showed us by example in the future, now that I'm talking, I can go ahead and remove my mask. Alright, well, first of all, thank you for showing up, and Tavares, happy birthday. You know who I'm talking about. As I hear Minnesota took one hell of a blizzard, and that blizzard, well, doesn't sound like a lot of fun when you can barely get outside your door. But here in good old Asia, you might think paradise, tropical environment, lizards and butterflies galore. Well, not 100%, because we ourselves got ourselves a good old sandstorm. Someone texted me and said, "Oh, how are things going? What's the weather like?" And at the time, I didn't have the right words to say. So, naturally, me stumbling, I went ahead and said, well, we just had ourselves a sand blizzard, because that's the closest translation that I could think of at the moment. And seeing the weather yesterday, I would think that's a somewhat accurate assessment. Except the roads were a little better, since instead of driving on black ice, it's like driving on sandpaper, since, well, more organic, eh? But you had a whole bunch of events happen in a short period of time. For example, just the other day, someone really must have had what's the modern hip phrase? Their ass was on fire. Tent where you shit in. Well, that caught on fire. So next time you want to light a match, hey, it's not that bright. Well, only for limited time only. First thing that I learned is I remember when dealing with immigrants from around the world, almost everyone said they're an engineer. Well, how is it almost everyone who comes to this country is an engineer? Well, I learned while here, the definition of engineer is pretty broad in general. For example, you work with computers, you're a computer engineer. You do plumber, you're a water engineer. Almost anything that actually builds, constructs, or creates is an engineer of all sorts. But if I were to go ahead and say I'm an engineer, people will say, "Oh, you went to Harvard, eh?" Well, no. That's not quite the case. The stereotypical engineer that I would talk to, the most people in high school or college, they automatically assume that I have a 6-year degree. I'm dang near astrophysics, so when it comes to mathematics and science, technology, etc. And people don't realize how easy, but yet how much work an engineer truly does. For example, obviously, you have people who construct buildings or do wiring and stuff like that. But then you have people who will go ahead and carry around like steel balls and drop it in your concrete and say, "Oh, no. Tear it up and try again. What's wrong?" Viscosity, the density. And then you have the other guy saying, "Oh, come on, I worked very hard to do that." No. Start again. And that I was surprised on how fast something can be built, destroyed, and rebuilt. So that is actually incredible on the different levels of bureaucracy. Although necessary bureaucracy, so don't get me wrong, there is levels that actually do benefit of the greater good. Since after all, you don't want to build a house with a shoddy foundation and find out that it looks like Mount Vesuvius is coming through the center of your home with a magma coming out. Probably not going to happen, but you understand what I'm saying. Especially if you're in Minnesota and you see the water line tear your foundation apart. Have a house older than 1910. You know exactly what I'm saying. You can't build your foundation on rocks anymore. Have their own personality. Well, I had such a personality in a vehicle, and it built so much character. I was like, you know what? You need a song. You need a song just for you. So I took a very, very popular song, popular back in the day, and I did a variant. Okay. So for you at home, go ahead and Google 16 tons, and I'm gonna play an audio segment for the group here. That's the beat, that's the rhythm, that's original song by Tennessee Eddie Ford. Here is my rendition. Some people say our rigs are mighty tough, but our 11K is a whole lot of rough. Scrap metal fluids and brakes all the time. A rig that's weak and not real strong. I try to lift 5 tons, what do I get? Another broke line and a whole lot of sweat. St. Peter, don't call me 'cause I cannot go. I owe my soul to repairing this more. It was built one day by a blind engineer trying to roll off a water pier. It was sold by a crooked, clever man. Cursed damn thing, I say I am. I try to lift 5 tons, what do I get? Another broke line and a whole lot of sweat. St. Peter, don't call me 'cause I cannot go. I owe my soul to repairing this thing. I was born one morning, it was pissing rain. Fighting broken systems was my middle name. Raised in the woods by a big bad moose, chained and shackled until I was let loose. I tried to lift 5 tons, what do I get? Another broke line and a whole lot of sweat. St. Peter, don't call me 'cause I cannot go. I owe my soul to repairing this more. You see me driving, better move aside. A lot of men did it, a lot of men died. 1 part iron, 1 part lead, you better use your little head. I try to lift 5 tons, what do I get? Another broken line and a lot of sweat. St. Peter, don't call me 'cause I cannot go. I owe my soul to repairing this more. So, that's your country song for the day, right? But all joking aside, my goodness, that song could honestly go to either of our lifts. And then there's an opportunity of another lift. I pretty much find something that is borderline scrap metal, and I have to go ahead and rip it apart, take out all the hoses, change all the filters, and I've got this on a rig that is, well, clearly built by a Romanian on a budget. All joking aside, if you want a good laugh, go on over to the yard. I'm sure you know where I'm talking about, and check out my ramp that I made. I don't think a skateboarder would trust it, but it's good enough for a bobcat. So let's see what happens. All joking aside, I'm sure it's safe enough. So, Hager, I want you to go ahead and not fix things. Why? Why do you not want me to fix things? Well, quite frankly, we want to use it, and every time you send it in to get fixed, it's like a week before we get it. Well, the reason why I do this is there are times when I don't get stuff fixed, or not me, when other people don't get their stuff fixed, and then an engine's running on no oil for a while, and then for some reason it just stops. It loses timing. It loses, it seizes up, and then it's gone for 6 months, 9 months. Let's see what happens. So this is why I'm really pushing, and I'm probing to get as much stuff fixed as possible. And then you realize there's a possibility as soon as I leave that the people who replace me, they ain't gonna know what a wrench is. So we'll see what happens. We have a rig that has a little bit of character where you have the ability to put on like a scoop or forks or different types of machinery, and we have a lower clamp. Well, it doesn't quite lower. Well, one of the two clamps don't lower, so it's just bipping and bopping and booping, and then before you know it, you have a heavy sack, a big load on this forklift, and it's only dangling off one point, and I'm like, is that a problem? No. It's good enough for the day. But how about for tomorrow? Someone will get crushed, but it's not today. I'm like, all right. Nice to know the mentality. Don't worry. It's probably going to get fixed. I went ahead and talked to someone, and hopefully they're going to make sure that someone who doesn't work for the company gets cemented into a bad position. But Dr. Seuss is now taboo. When I say now taboo, they even blocked you from selling Dr. Seuss books, specific books, I think 9 books, off of Amazon or eBay. So the world's biggest flea market basically is now saying no to Dr. Seuss. And they're like, no, we will not go any further. This is enough. After this is banned, there won't be any more bannings. Well, 1 week later, I think possibly even less than a week later, Disney announced, you know what? Peter Pan is too offensive. We have to ban Peter Pan. And I'm like, dude, what is next? And Disney announced that there might be up to 12 movies that they might ban. And I'm like, my goodness, they are banning faster than I can watch all of the Disney classics. They are getting so egregious, and if they're removing all of your classics, it's like book burning. It is basically book burning. And I wonder, what is next? Since people are finding out, oh wait, this book, Dr. Seuss, is now banned. Then overnight, everyone tried to buy it on the internet as fast as possible, since now it's a collector item. So now they are trying to act faster to, for example, you have Wizards of the Coast. If anyone here has ever played Magic the Gathering or games similar to that, you might have remembered late last year, they went ahead, I think it was late last year, might have been this year, I don't know, 2021, very weird. But very quickly, they went ahead and said, you know what, there's a whole bunch of cards way too offensive, so they went ahead and tried to buy up all the cards online before banning a specific card. What are these cards? Like Dark Templar, I think one. But you have Crusade and just weird cards that no one ever plays, but they went ahead and banned it, even though it's not legal in almost any format, but they wanted to make a point. But as soon as they banned it, those cards went from valuing about $5 to now like $300. So now people are actually having bots go around and see what is being taboo and then buy it as soon as they announce it. So there's a big market on basically book burning and the books that are and the media that's being destroyed. As you saw, my initial little skit was me wearing multiple masks. Now I have a family back home, and they go around even in their home wear 3 masks, and I'm like, this is crazy. Why are you wearing 3 masks? Huh? In your own home. People are driving around in their own cars wearing 3 masks, and they state the reason for this is, well, it's there to protect you, your family, blah blah blah. And I asked, all right, so why 3 masks? Since the N95 mask, I don't know if anyone has heard lately, is inappropriate since you're spreading germs with the N95. So if you have an N95 with a valve, it is actually banned from a lot of areas. Go figure. So the most, one of the more effective masks are not allowed. But the ineffective cloth masks, let's double up on those. Well, the reason someone gave me was, well, simple. 1 layer is for you. 1 layer is for the public, and you have 1 layer as redundant. So, how many layers before you feel 100% safe? I don't know how many masks I wore at the beginning, but let's just say I'm not jogging with that much cover, since people are finding out that, hey, the more masks you wear, the harder it is to breathe. But the good thing is, I think this is good. Why? Because anyone preparing to climb Mount Everest is going to have a little opportunity that did not happen before. So you won't have mountain climbers come out of this catastrophe or CCP virus. So this is an opportunity. So while everyone is wearing 2, 3, 4, why not 10 layers? They are now preparing their lungs and their bodies for them to have higher elevation. So before you know it, people are going to be picking berries at all the mountain tops near the Appalachian Mountains or the Himalayan Mountains, or wherever you can find berries and plants. And let's be honest, if it's Colorado, hot at very high elevations and not just the standard normal elevation. So there is a point. So this is something that I did not think of until earlier this year. So I guess opportunities come to those who look. One person from Minneapolis said, hey, good news, with all the snow and the blizzards, the city's no longer burning. Yay. But they have a little problem. Well, there was an incident that happened in Minneapolis, so a bunch of people tried to burn down the city. And when you have a whole bunch of criminals trying to burn down the city, what's a natural thing to do? Well, obviously you defund the cops. Well, when you defund the cops, you have a whole bunch of people exit. Not quite California type of exodus, but you have a whole bunch of people leaving the police force in droves in Minneapolis, especially certain areas of Minneapolis. Well, you would think they'd be happy. Hey, they defunded police, and hey, there's far fewer cops, right? Well, now, for some reason, there's some correlation. The lower the cop number, the higher the crime. I don't understand this correlation. Now they're doing a massive incentivization. Hey, you want to become a cop? And people are like, not really. So now Minnesota's a little desperate. Well, go figure. I wonder if other cities and states can see this correlation. Hey, if we go ahead and massively defund police, there's a possibility that there will be an increase in crime. But don't worry, our fellow politicians have our back. They say, send a social worker. Oh yeah, that won't backfire. I don't know if anyone here has ever talked to someone from the police, but the police usually will get a call, respond to an incident, and if needed, have a social worker assist and figure out how they can help a certain type of dispute. Well, the bright idea of our politicians are, let's just go ahead and send a social worker, and social workers are saying, well, if it's a not safe area, aren't we the ones gonna get beaten? Oh, that's fine. Show them your documentation. That'll be like your badge, and they won't touch you. Really? Well, I'm glad I'm not a social worker in Minnesota, since before long, they're gonna have a paper badge stating, please don't shoot. Well, other part of the country, there's a pillow. There's a big pillow company that is very well known. And the commercials are with the guy hugging his My Pillow, and he's like, oh man, I love this. If you look at the history of that guy, I believe that was a guy who was, let's just say, overused certain drugs, and then all of a sudden he stopped doing drugs. He started up a mom and pop business, and it was very successful, and he became a millionaire, and all was well. Well, things changed. He did not openly attack a certain official that was publicly known. As soon as that happened, there was another company that started up the same time. They talked to a whole bunch of companies, like telling them not to sell My Pillows anymore. And you're like, why? Why are they attacking this one guy? Well, obviously he's a bad guy because he didn't openly go against this one public figure. So what's his new pillow? I'm not even gonna mention the name, since quite frankly, I'm not gonna give them free advertisement for stupidity. Well, this new company, they are very, very, let's just say, woke. When I say woke, I mean they want to start with union. They want to start with, we only want to hire people of certain categories, and we want to make sure that we have a politically driven figure in the foreground. We want to do this, we want to do that, and they want to just take over this My Pillow company. Well, it's a lot of people are expecting for this new company to go bankrupt, since it's pretty clear that they went ahead and directly attacked all the stores to eliminate this entrepreneur and just slide their product in without any experience with actually building a business. But they pretty much have a multimillionaire just throwing money at them to replace this guy. Well, naturally, you tell someone not to do something. Now this My Pillow is like the #1 pillow in the US, apparently. People have to realize, the second you tell someone, don't do this, they're gonna do it. It's the same philosophy. Hey, believe it or not, do you know alcohol was illegal in the US? And guess what? There was more alcohol that people would drink during the prohibition than when there wasn't prohibition. Then you tell people not to do drugs. Are you saying America is drug free? You tell people don't read all these hateful books, and now those books are worth. Some of them are worth hundreds of dollars now. The Dr. Seuss books that I was referring to, because as soon as you tell people not to do it, they want to know what not to do. And this is a chronic thing throughout history. And why don't people know that it don't work? Well, who knows? Back to masks. One group that they need to realize really suffer with everyone wearing masks are the deaf. What do you mean? Haven't you ever heard the phrase, read my lips? Well, yeah, ain't that the truth? Read my lips. I'm just wearing a mask, that 3 layers thing. Gotta make sure there's no chance that you're going to go ahead and see what the hell I'm saying, right? Well, where you have this con, you have people in NFL saying, you know what, this is a good thing. What do you mean? Because they recognize that some people would bring binoculars to like football games and sports games, and they would actually read the coach's lips, and these were actually, I forgot what they're called, but these are actually good paid people, and they would be able to phone in the other coach. Oh man, this guy's gonna do a 150 right hand hanger. I don't know anything about sports, but they would be able to relay that information just being able to. Yeah, I know I'm really bad at sports, and I watch just as many sports as I play. Esports is not a sport. I don't care what you say, and I know a lot of companies are trying to say esports is a real sport. Don't get me wrong. There is talent in some esports, especially like Dota and the Rocket League and stuff like that, but it's not a sport. It's not. But yes, I don't do a lot of sports, so I don't know what sports they read from their lips, like what they say, but that is actually how they were able to go ahead and get a little bit of advantage over the years. And that's why for a while people were like, all right, I'm gonna talk into the mic while covering up their mouth, since this was a big issue at one point. And now with them wearing masks half-heartedly, it makes it a lot more difficult for people who are deaf or trying to be a good entrepreneur and use walkie-talkie, phone-in plans, and people don't realize some of these changes that have occurred. Another change that has occurred is people are realizing how dependent we are on globalization. What do you mean? Well, when this whole fiasco started, people were going nuts and mad over supplies like toilet paper, masks, and hand wipes, and basic supplies like this. And then they realized, oh snap, China produces much of our supply. And China was like, you know what? We ain't gonna ship you anything. Well, we'll only ship you over defective stuff, since that's the type of caring people we are. And I'm like, oh, that's better than what I expected. Then you realize that America needed to have its own basis for important supplies such as medical and emergency equipment. Since you had for the longest time media stating that, oh, these vaccines are no good, these are going to kill you, it's going to be very, very bad for you. And then January, February occurred, and hey, vaccines are not that bad. Coincidence? But for a while they were toting on how good and progressive that the Chinese vaccine was, right? They have, at best, a 52% success rate. Man, would you take that vaccine? I don't know. This 94% is not, it's not 100%. Let's try this 54%. But then they realized, especially in Brazil, that bought a lot of product from China, and they realized that vaccine that was widely distributed in Brazil, it was salt water. I'm not even joking. It was saline. So it was basically salt water. And they're saving the high quality 52% vaccine for their own people in China, which I'm sure their party members are getting the American 94%. But hey, YOLO, right? But there is a thing that I heard in the news a bit ago that Russia has produced their own vaccine, and Russia's vaccine was far ahead of the American vaccines. This is what they were toting November, December, January area. And then I'm thinking, and I'm like, wait, I'm almost willing to bet that they just throw vodka in the bottles and say, all right, nobody missed this opportunity. Everyone gets one shot a day and everyone is good to go. Why? Because let's be honest, no bacteria or virus can survive the Russian vodka blood. It's people who stopped drinking that had the problem, and and I joke, but look at the numbers. Speaking of which, looking at the numbers, one thing that I recognized is I remember the media was toting how dangerous it was to be in Florida, especially during these times. And then you wonder, why is it so dangerous to be in Florida? Simple. Because they were saying New York was so progressive, and almost no one got injured in New York. Yeah, there's a little bit of a problem with the virus in New York, just a hair bit of a problem, but it was nowhere near as bad as Florida. Well, come February, we find out that, well, remember when someone in politics gave New York a massive medical ship that they can designate just exclusively for sick and people with COVID? Remember that? And they refused to use that equipment. They refused to concentrate just the ill on those medical ships. Instead, let's put them in nursing homes. Wait, that's not good enough. I don't care if you're 15 years old or 85 years old. Let's just consolidate all of the sick people in nursing homes with some exception and see what happens. Hey, February, we find out there was actually a lot more deaths than what was reported. Go figure. And some politician, possible governor, is now possibly getting impeached for this. So let's let's see how that goes. When you allow people to use some common sense, there is, well, less problems. But in general, that is a chronic problem throughout history. Whether it be during the pandemic in the late 1900s, also known as the Spanish flu, which they actually renamed since apparently that is too insulting to call it a Spanish flu. You know, revisionist history have to change everything, so I have no idea what it's called now, but, well, I'm going to call it the Spanish flu since, well, that's what all my history books have called it. But apparently, they recognize that people who are densely compacted together would have the possibility of getting sick and stuff. So people in the trenches were getting sick, and the Spanish flu was actually a danger to the healthy, and it devastated on the Western Front. Well, it devastated the world, but especially the Western Front, since they were very densely compact. But they still had schools open. They still had markets open. They still had things open. But today, they're like, no one is allowed to work, except if you work for media. But we have to talk about how brave the teachers are for not going to work. One teacher in particular was a very avid protester against sending teachers, forcing them back to school, and how could you kill all the teachers without having these mandates? Well, they found a photo of her a week later on a beach with no mask in a densely populated area, enjoying a vacationing, wanting to make sure that she's getting paid to not teach. I'm seeing why they don't want to go to work. Since if you had an opportunity, if engineers were told you're going to get paid buttloads of money and never work a day in your life, I promise you, many engineers would be like, you know what? This is nice. This is what I signed up to do. Just sit back, relax, and watch things go. Well, I have a solution. A very simple solution. What type of solution would change everything? Well, simple. Politicians, the media, the teachers, everyone treated the same. What do I mean? Hey, if no one is allowed to work, no one is getting paid until, or get paid half as much until this blows over. Within an hour, I promise you, schools would open up immediately. If they aren't getting billions, almost trillions of dollars, they, I promise you, will open up overnight. The CNN will immediately saying we must open up. We are not allowed to not get paid, since quite frankly, I don't want to be like all these public plebs, these peons, these commoners. I'm better than a commoner. I am the news. Well, guess what? If we don't get paid, you shouldn't get paid. Share the suffering, especially goes to you politicians. But hey, that I'm sure that they won't vote for. Too bad we're not voting. Well, speaking of voting, there's a new thing out there. Well, remember the hassle we had voting during the COVID thing? Well, that was very inconvenient for a lot of people. Well, they are trying to write a bill to solve those problems. What type of bill? Simple. Well, they want to make it where you no longer need an ID. After all, not everyone has an ID. All you have to do is just sign a piece of paper stating, oh yeah, I am totally cool. And early voting, mandatory. Also, we want to federalize it. Make it so anyone can vote super early, and if your state says otherwise, we supersede it. But wait, there's more. We also want to make it where we have ballot harvesting. What is ballot harvesting? Well, simple. You take your vote, you bring it to something that looks like a mailbox but with a much worse lock, and throw it in there. Then, you know where I'm going. Then, you walk away. A few days later, someone picks the lock or just opens it up and goes through it, shines a flashlight, recycle bin, that's my guy, recycle bin, hey, what? No, wrong thing, burn bag, ooh, that's my guy, burn bag. Do you see the problem with ballot harvesting? This could never ever happen, right? Well, the funny thing is, countries like Belarus, Russia, France. Actually, I can't think of another country that actually allows this. All these other countries says it's so easy for corruption if we do stuff like this. So they have an in-person voting system. If it's not in person, they have very strict guidelines on how you can vote if it's not in person. And we said no. We want to simplify it for everyone, particularly the politicians. And a lot of states are trying to fight this, and luckily it doesn't seem like it's going to go through. But this Friday they're going to deliberate, and who knows? Maybe after this Friday, voting won't be a thing anymore. But we'll see. So you wonder, how will we make it even simpler? All right. Did you know that in the 1930s, there was a politician in Germany, and he made it so it was so simple, it was foolproof. You just simply have a name at the top and a jaw, J-A, also known as yes in German, or 9, I think. Yes or no? Yes or no? Do you want this guy? Yes or no? And the jaw was in like size 30 font. The 9 was in like size 8 font. Very clear. You can't screw that up. But they simplify it even further. You go ahead and turn it into to the person. Not in secret. No. You turn it into the voting official, which was typically a party member, and they would say, "Oh, yep, this is a good vote," or "No. Are you sure you want a 9? Because let's be honest, this is small font. You must have made a mistake. You didn't see the big jaw." Well, if they were very sure that they did not make a mistake, well, come over here. We have a wall for you. You think I'm joking? Well, I'm not going to mention who that politician was in the 30s, but that is the only voting system that I think is even easier than what they're trying to make now. We'll see how that goes. As always, I will go ahead and leave off with opportunity for people to ask me 3 questions, and then I will answer appropriately. Go ahead and anyone raise their hand. Any questions? I saw a movement over here.
Why is it always me?
Do you not keep moving?
No.
Is that a hand back there? No? Oh, I see a hand.
Favorite esports team?
Favorite esports team? I would have to say World of Tanks, since it's a really fun game to watch. A lot of tactics, and it brings me back to the old days when I used to drive a tank when I was in the army. But I don't know any of the specific teams. But my favorite esport to watch in general has to be World of Tanks. It's quick, it's fun, and it brings me back to the good old days. Another question? So 2 more. Hit me, sir.
What's the first thing you're gonna do when you get back home?
Alrighty. First thing I'm gonna do when I get back home. Simple. I'm gonna do some preventive maintenance on my bicycle. I have to since I staged a bunch of things, so as soon as I get back, I have to rev everything up. Since I have to prep my computer, making sure that's fully operational. Got to prep my bicycle. I gotta. So therefore, I have mobility again. I have to make sure that the person back home that's waiting for me, making sure that she is aware that I really miss her, but there's multiple steps that I have to do to making sure that my sanity is good, knowing that nothing is broken that I'm not expecting to be broken, since there's things that go wear and tear, and I do expect a few things broken, but I need to make sure that everything is on the upside. Last question.
When are you buying your Tesla truck?
When am I buying my Tesla truck? You know what? That question is not for me. That question is for Elon Musk. Because Elon Musk typically is a little behind schedule. And quite frankly, I have no idea when it'll actually be available. Well, thank you very much. That's all I have for tonight. I missed a few things, but hey, that's all right. Have a nice day.